Hello, everybody. We are back around the dinner table again. I'm Nick. I'm joined by
Mike?
and we are here to. Usually, we bring a topic each, but I don't know if you have a topic today. You
Yeah,
do?
I got one.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You want to go first? Want me to go first?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a huge gamer. I love games. I love entertainment. We all love entertainment, movies, games, and both are going through some weird times. In 2020, of course, we had COVID, and everybody was stuck at home. So, what did the movie industry do? Well, they invested in streaming heavily.
All right.
And so now the streaming companies are struggling because all those people went back to work, everything sunk. So the movie business said, okay, well, we can pivot because we have that ability. We can go back to theaters. We have other resources. We can split it up in between the two. We can continue to make our money, keep trying to put out the best product we can, unless we're Disney, beside the point. And we can keep trying to do things in a way where we can be profitable and make money. A lot in the game industry, mainly Western development, invested so heavily into gaming during that, into their businesses, overhired, overstretched, that last year, the whole year, 8,000 people were laid off. This year, as of now, which what is today?
It's May 13th, 14th.
May 13th is at 15,000 since January 1st.
Mm.
It is just a freaking bloodletting out there because they overextended themselves. They acted as if mainly Microsoft and another company called Embracer Group and EA acted as if, well, this is the new norm. No one's ever going back to work again. Everybody's going to be staying home playing video games all day, every day. That's it. So they just dumped shitloads of money, overstretched themselves, and now it's ugly out there. Embracer bought up so many teams that they ended up, what were they at? They're up to 111 studios. Put that in perspective, Sony owns 23.
Yeah,
They got to a point where the one would put out a game and another one would put out a game. So now there's 250 million gamers at one time. There's only so many games we can play. So it's now they're competing against their own company, and it's causing what Embracer ended up doing is they broke themselves up into three smaller companies, which the CEO who made all those decisions got one of those companies, which is proof that you can totally just jack up anything and still have a job, especially if you're a CEO. And he did. He's still making his bazillion dollars a year.
or if you jack it up enough, they'll just buy you out.
Oh, yeah, eventually.
Pay you to go away.
You always fail upward in the CEO business.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the big one is Microsoft. Or it's not really Microsoft. Microsoft as a company is $6 trillion a year. They're fine. It's Xbox. They showed a 1% profit this year. 1%.
Hmm.
The only reason they showed that 1% is they bought for $1 billion. Or more than $1 billion. God, let me look that up real quick. I think it was like $68 billion. Something like it was in that realm. It was massive. But Activision Blizzard, which makes Call of Duty, and which is the number one selling video game every year, except for last year, Harry Potter beat it out, which was really funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's a whole other one there. What happened with that? But Harry Potter beat him out last year, but they're still number two. And I mean that thing's just a moneymaker. Call of Duty games are just money makers. So they bought that, and they brought that in, and it showed them having growth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason. So you remove that, Microsoft lost a shitload, or Xbox lost a shitload of money. When Sega was falling apart as a game console making company, now they just make software. They sold roughly 950 to 1 million units over a 3-month period of their Sega Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft has barely sold 800,000 Xboxes this quarter.
Yeah.
I think they said PlayStation is probably sold 20 to 25 million this year already. And Nintendo Switch is over 140 million units sold. which is ridiculous. I mean, so to say that Xbox is struggling it's like not comparable. I mean, I love games. I play, if I had an Xbox, I would be, I'd still play it. I don't. I have a PlayStation. I also have Nintendo stuff. I like them all. I like them all.
Yeah.
I'm not one or the other. I like them all. But they had just fallen apart, and a lot of it is they made this thing in 2012, the launching of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. That's when we started going digital on a lot of games. So they screwed up then. They made it all about look what you can watch TV on this console. You can watch live sports on this console. They never mentioned the main purpose of owning an Xbox. It's games. They never mentioned it, never talked about it. So PlayStation famously came out and said, you can play games. You can play games. You can play games. Oh, by the way, you can play games and still watch TV.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, uh-oh. And they just got trounced in that generation by, I think they sold 50 million at the end of that you used about 8 years. Xbox Ones and PlayStation 4 just were over like 110 million. They just kicked their ass. And so that's when it started. So they fired that whole team. Microsoft did. They said, no, you guys, you're dumb. Go. And they brought in Phil Spencer and a bunch of other guys, Matt Booty, he had to have been picked on as well. But Booty Matt, Matt Booty. They brought him in to run and fix their brand. And the only thing they have managed to do is they said, well, we're going to do this subscription program. We're going to do a Netflix-style subscription program for video games, which sounds really kind of cool. You think about it, $10 or $9.99 a month, you get access to games. The problem is, in the PlayStation side, well, I know this one for the PlayStation side, The Last of Us Part 2, the one that came out a couple of years ago. Milo. Sorry, guys, but the squeaking Milo's got a toy there. That game cost to make $230 million to make over 5 years. So you invest your next Halo game, 5 years, you do $150 million. $10.99 is not going to cover those costs. And the problem is they have all of these expensive games. These games are not cheap to make. And they have, well, we're going to put them on Game Pass day one. Well, now Xbox users are like, well, why buy games? We'll just play it here. Problem is no one's signing up for the service. People use the service.
I thought those services went away.
Oh, no, they're still there. So people are not signing up for service, or when they do, it's when like Starfield came out, they got that month subscription, said, all right, we'll play it this month, and the next month they dropped it.
Cancel it.
So now they're not making any money on games. So now if they were to go back to their customer base and say, well, why don't you buy these games now? It's like, well, you trained us to not buy games. So what did Microsoft do? They had to do what they always, you have to pivot, you have to adjust. The CEO of Microsoft came in and said, hey, we like being everywhere. This exclusive thing isn't working for us. Phil. And Phil went, all right, well, we'll try it with 4 games. You know the biggest 4 games on PlayStation? They're all Xbox games this past month. Yeah, because PlayStation fans and PlayStation people who play PlayStation, no, games are $70. That's how much it costs. The reason it costs that much is $230 million is a lot of damn money, and you got to make your money up. So if I want another Last of Us, I got to support that, and you got to put your money where your mouth is. The Xbox ecosystem, I guess what you want to call it, doesn't look at it that way. They've been trained, no, it's supposed to be on that Game Pass thing for $10 a month. Why is it now over here for $70? And they are just imploding. It is really interesting. People are getting, you can go on eBay now and get an Xbox Series X, the newest one, for nothing.
Yeah.
Because they're just getting rid of them, because what's the point? Everything's going to everybody else now. And they have completely imploded their business. But you know what is amazing? They came out and pretty much said, Phil Spencer's fine. The CEO of Xbox is totally fine. He's good. He's the guy we need to weather the storm. I'm like, this guy is, I mean, if I blundered that bad in my jobs, I would have been fired.
Oh, yeah.
How is these guys, like, or Matt Booty came out and said, we need more smaller games, and with Critical Darling, more critically successful games. They had Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush sold well when they moved it to PlayStation, but it was on that Xbox Game Pass thing. It never made any money because nothing's going to make money. I mean, that's just, if I would have come up to you and said, these are the budgets of my games, I won't put them on this for $10, you'd say, get the fuck, I mean, get out of here, you know?
Yeah.
But whatever, you know, so he, you know, they didn't make any money on it there. So they closed Tango Gameworks, which, by the way, that was the game that Matt Booty said we should have done. But he released that quote after he closed Tango Gameworks. It's like you had the company that made the critical darling that did well on another platform. It didn't do well on yours because you're stupid. You know, it's amazing to me. And what it's about is this weird entertainment thing of why are these the people who suffer are the people, the creatives, the people who are making these things, the people who are putting the effort, the hours, the time. It's 5 years to make a game. Yeah, they get paid well, but why is a Phil Spencer making so much money to be in charge of all of these teams? And then he came out and said, "Oh, we're stretched a little too thin." Well, then why did you buy Activision Blizzard? Why did you buy Bethesda and ZeniMax Studios? Why did you do all of that? Those that you stretch yourselves, you're stupid. Like everything. So what you're telling me is you're an idiot, but yet how do you still have a job because you just laid off 4 studios? And that's a lot of people. That's probably close to a couple thousand people losing their job.
Yeah.
So they suffer for his incompetence. But yet you look at everybody's like, well, the whole video game industry is going through it. It is. Sony, by perspective, laid off 900 people. Yeah. Nintendo has not. So it's not really the whole industry. And you can't say it's the whole industry. Why do the Japanese guys get it? But the American guys are like, I don't understand. COVID's not here anymore. Why is it not here anymore? What they hedge? It's like they hedged their wrong bets, but somehow still staying squeaky clean. And it's a very strange thing because, like, even you're seeing a struggle in movies are now adjusting. But when we went to the more subscription like Netflix and Amazon Prime and all that, it was very expensive for them in the beginning because to get streaming rights for movies was very expensive. But they adjusted, they figured it out. This is good for all of us. And then Netflix got smart and started investing in their own movies and their own shows. Yeah. Just like Apple, just like all of them. And that was a smart move. And they could keep that up. And they also have ad revenue. You can't get ad revenue in a video game. That's not going to totally break the video game. You can't be playing Mario halfway through jump stop for a commercial break. It's just not going to work. So to do a subscription service in a video game with video games, it doesn't work unless you have little tiny free to play video games that do nothing but what they call attract whales, which are people, they're free to play game, but they don't play it for free. You can play to win, you can buy to win. So you can buy like all the little upgrades.
Oh yeah.
That you normally have to grind out for, which grinding is like you just keep playing and playing to get better at it. And so then that's what Microsoft really wants, is they just want a shitload of those. They don't want like these big AAA massive beautiful games. And problem is their fan base wants those big massive beautiful games, and that's rightfully so. PlayStation gets it, Nintendo gets it, Steam obviously understands it. Why is Microsoft missing? And it's just amazing to me how one guy who's supposed to fix it, and they love this guy, they just do, they love this man. I'm like, how can you love a man who's destroyed something that you invested a lot of money into? You could look at my PlayStation catalog, my PS5. There's 1,000 games on there. So you do the math. That's a lot of money,
Sure.
But that's been since, 2010. I've been buying games digitally. I do buy a little bit more physical now because there's been a lot of weird things with digital. And one of the big things with digital is they're just making games disappear. And that's been a big problem, and I don't like that. They're doing that with movies now too. You're starting to see that streaming companies like, oh, we didn't make as much money. Disney just did it with Willow. We didn't get the uptick in our subscriptions that we thought we were going to get with this, so they just wrote it off. But to write it off, it has to disappear. It has to be deleted, gone, no chance of ever coming back. And that's kind of sad because I wanted to watch it. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I loved Willow. Willow was a cute show when I was a kid. It's kind of dated now.
Yeah.
But
obviously, because it didn't do well.
Obviously, but still, but at the same time, there is that, right? It didn't do well, but does it deserve to be completely destroyed? Those people who put all that time and effort into that, I don't know.
Mm,
I don't know. It's such a weird thing, and it's strangely a lot of it is more Western development in entertainment, Western music. What the hell,
I know, I know.
Western television shows are doing pretty well right now,
Hmm.
but it took people like Apple. Who does Apple partner with? A24 for most of their stuff, and A24 is probably the biggest studio. You know why? Because they're run by creatives.
Hmm.
And those creatives figured out, I don't want you, businessmen, around my stuff. We are businessmen, but we're also very creative. And when we give a studio money to make a movie, we say, you bring it back when you're done. That's it. That's the only involvement they have. We liked your idea, go make that idea, bring it back to us when we're done, and we'll talk. And that's why they've won just about every best picture probably for the past 10 years. I mean, they're ridiculous. They are a great studio. And you would think more and more movie studios would look at that and go, oh,
Yeah, I don't know. They're
but and you're about to,
movies have been terrible lately.
oh,
They're
it's
just
outside of Oppenheimer, but Christopher Nolan's like Steven Spielberg.
that
He's
was
going to do what he wants.
that was one movie,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it's the last new movie I've seen in years.
Yeah.
I just have no desire to go to the movies anymore because there's nothing worth watching.
I'm interested in the Mad Max one coming out, but the last
Yeah,
Mad Max
I've never
movie.
cared for that science fiction stuff anyway.
Yeah, but they're still fun movies, and I like the style. They're practical effects, which always age better and look better.
Hmm.
I mean, like the original Star Wars to me will always look better than anything after it,
Yeah.
because they use practical effects and they didn't do the computer thing. Matter of fact, the worst parts of the Star Wars, the original ones, is the ones when George Lucas went back and computer added shit. It
Yeah.
looks so out of place and so cheesy now. But I don't know. I just found it kind of interesting on how Western entertainment has just been taken over by people who I either don't have a clue how it works, don't care how it
I don't
works,
care how it works.
and they
I think
just
that's
want to
the
bleed the
thing,
money. But
you
the
know.
people who are suffering are the people who make the stuff. And I often wonder, when are the people who make the stuff are going to stand up and go, no? When are they going to finally go, no, no, this isn't working for us? Tango Gameworks director, because that studio just got closed last year. He told Microsoft stuff, and he said, "I'm out." He just quit. Everyone's like, "Well, why is he quitting?" Because he made some of the he's a Japanese that was a Japanese studio, and he's made some of the biggest games in Resident Evil 4 and some of these really massive games and other games for Capcom. He's huge, and I think Platinum. I might be wrong on that, but he's huge, and he just like good luck.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden the studio's being closed, and it's like, oh, okay, I get what's going on, And now and his non-compete clause is up, so he immediately started a new game company over there. And they asked him, "Would you ever sell to a big studio again?" He said, "No," or a big publisher again. He said, "No, I'm going to maintain my own thing."
Hmm.
And you're starting to see that more. But why isn't it happening here? Why is EA forcing BioWare, who made Mass Effect games, which are great games, to make a game that's like, you know what Fortnite is?
Yeah, not really.
I'm trying to think of it's a game. It's a free to play game, but you had to buy the BioWare one. It was like $59, but it's like a forever game. They just kept adding stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
I was talking about it. Yeah.
But they were a studio that built single player role playing games that are very in depth, great stories, just amazing games. But they forced them to make this thing it failed. You want to talk about like the day it was released, nobody cared, and it failed almost immediately. They had a roadmap to all the things they're going to add to the game, and they never made it to the first one. They just shut off the servers. So, okay, we're moving on.
Yeah.
And to force a studio that doesn't do that to do that doesn't work. Sony was doing that too, to be fair. They bought Bungie, who makes Destiny, which is one, and that's starting to recover. Sorry about that. We had batteries died on the recording device.
Yeah.
Gotta hate when that happens.
Crippled by technology.
Crippled by technology once again, but we're back. But like I was saying, I just find it weird that these creatives who are powerful people in the industry, like, are just taking this beat down from these massive entities that have no idea, and they're faceless in a lot of ways. They're just investors.
Well, that's the way of the world, I think.
Yeah,
The business world is taken over by conglomerate companies. I mean, we talked about it in the food thing.
yeah,
I mean, there's 10 companies that control 90% of your food you eat.
hmm
I don't think it's any different anywhere else. It's just, yeah,
yeah,
somehow it's got to shake out at some point.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it's going to take to fix it. I'm not that smart, but,
No, neither am I.
but I mean, it's that way throughout, look at Walmart,
Yeah,
look at Amazon.
yeah,
I mean, look at the business that Amazon controls.
yeah.
It's crazy. I mean,
Absolutely.
turn on your TV and Amazon, you're streaming Amazon. Your mother's
Where's
streaming it
the
right
movie
now
probably going to be going to?
to
It's
Amazon.
my movie's probably going to be going to Amazon
I
pretty
mean,
soon.
look at all
So,
the stuff you buy,
yeah,
through Amazon. It's crazy, and I try to, you try to think local,
yeah.
but
We
what's
got
out
Walmart.
there that's local? I
Walmart.
mean, I mean,
Yeah,
go maybe restaurants. I try to eat at independent restaurants because usually the food's better.
usually. Yeah.
But you end up shopping somewhere. You're going to buy a bicycle, for example. Where are you going to go?
You got to go to Walmart.
Walmart or your local bicycle shop, depending on what kind of bicycle you want.
Yeah,
If you want just something to ride around the neighborhood, you're probably going to go to Walmart.
yeah.
You
I
know,
agree.
if you want some kind of cross country bicycle, a specialized thing, then yeah, you might go to a bike shop to get it. But
Well,
it's hard for a small business
yeah.
to compete, and at some point, it's got to shake out somewhere.
Well, it's like one of the guys I listen to a lot. I'll have to give him that shout out. It's LSM. He does sacred symbols, and his name's Colin, and he also is part owner of a game company, small one, real small one, and he takes no money from it because he makes enough money on his business side, like his LSM side, all of his companies that he has inside of that, that he just funnels the money that he's supposed to make back into the company because he's trying to get it
Grow.
going and
Yeah.
trying to grow it and grow it and grow it. And he has said, there's too many games. There's just too many games out
Mhm.
there. And that's why you're seeing a lot of people failing. He goes, and they're going to have to just fail.
Yeah.
They're just going to have to, all of these, because what's going to happen is all these bad people who thought, oh, we can squeeze this for everything are eventually going to go, well, maybe there's not as much there to squeeze anymore. And they're going to probably back out. Or it's going to be just another one of those, um, like the internet stocks became, where they're just, oh yeah, Amazon, that's just a part of the normal stock rotation, or because you gotta right now the light is so on them because it's the biggest form of entertainment in the world right now,
Hmm.
and so everybody's like, oh look at that, we gotta get that money, we gotta get that game money, we gotta get that game money, but I think it's hurting that business. I think when you get
Well, I
too
think it
much
hurts
money,
all business
yeah,
when you do that. And I mean, if quality is not as good,
no,
you
that's
know,
been a big
that's
issue, yeah,
yeah, service is certainly not as good. Go to Walmart and compared to your neighborhood grocery store when you
yeah,
were growing up.
oh yeah,
I mean, there's no question where the better service was.
no, absolutely,
They're all understaffed, all of these places on purpose.
Yeah, when I owned my
You
little
know,
business, I had to deal with the GameStop stuff, and people
sure.
could walk in and go, "Well, over there at GameStop, they gave me 2 year warranty on this console." I'm like, I'm not that big. I might not even be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those. I'll do the best I can,
Hmm.
and I'll help you out if something's broken on it. Let me know, or it doesn't work. Let me know. And I'll find one that will, or we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's because they have the backing of a corporation to
Sure.
do that,
Yeah.
where mom and pa's don't. And I had that mom and pa little game shop, and I loved it.
Hmm.
It was fun, but I learned real quick it's hard to compete in today's world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I was making between 5 to 7 thousand a month. GameStop's making 15, 20.
Oh, sure. Easy.
Maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
And just that one location probably. So, and then two other guys decided to open up game stores in that state, in that little city. I'm like, there's just not enough people for all of this. One of us is going to fail. And I sold it. That's one of the reasons why I sold it. I was like, all right, it's probably time to move. Two people trying to copy me a little too much,
Yeah.
and I just moved on, and
The
it's still
store's
open,
open. Yeah.
still
Still
open, and they're doing good. From what I'm reading, the other two guys pretty much just kind of gone away, which
open.
I knew my idea was the superior idea, but it's one of those things. But also kind of wanted to live in a city where I could take my dog to the vet at night if there was an emergency. So,
Sure. Yeah.
but yeah, that's where we're at, and I think it's a sad state. It shows the sad state of a lot, like the music industry. It's
Music, terrible.
absolutely
Man,
terrible what's going on there.
Yeah.
But you know what hurt music was actually streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Spotify's and all that actually hurt music.
Well, people don't get paid anymore for making music.
No,
The produce the makers of the music. You know, when you put out I still call them albums, but when you
Yeah.
put out a group of songs
yeah,
that go on Spotify or whatever,
yeah,
you're not making any money on that.
no. I think
You
it's
know,
a couple pennies per
yeah.
listen.
If that,
Yeah,
you know, and you got to get millions and millions and millions of listens to get any kind of money out of it.
oh yeah,
So that's why all these bands tour now, and ticket prices are so friggin' high.
yeah. They got to make
You
their
know,
money
they got to
somehow.
make their money somehow.
Yeah, they can have the
And,
hit song on Spotify, but that'll probably pay them a couple grand at the end of it.
Yeah.
Where they make their money is on these selling their merchandise at these concerts, selling merchandise online, going, the concert experience, and those are
Yeah.
not cheap to do.
Not
you know?
anymore.
You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, go rent that
Mhm.
big ass venue. That can't be cheap. I'm gonna go rent the arena that the
I think your average ticket price for a concert nowadays is probably $150.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I remember when I was a kid, they were like $20.
yeah.
I was a little bit younger. I think I saw Dream Theater at the House of Blues for $34.
I saw Led Zeppelin for $7.
Oh, shit.
Okay, $7.
Yeah.
That
And I was
was in
excited to pay that $20 because it was 3 Opeth, Between the Buried and Me, and Dream Theater. I had 4 bands for $20. I was like, this is awesome. Now that concert would probably be about $200.
Yeah, I was looking at what's her name, Alanis Morissette. I would
Yeah.
like to see her. I really
No, I would. Yeah.
Every seat in the house is $128. Yeah,
That's insane.
not worth it to me. I mean,
Yeah.
she's okay. I like some of her songs, but $128.
No, you're
See,
doing it.
that's before fees too. That's before Ticket Bastard
Oh, yeah.
gets a
Speaking
hold of you.
another
and,
hateful, evil.
an evil empire that is. But
And the quick thing that all these people do is they blame capitalism, they blame that, but you're blaming, no, what you're blaming is a failure of oversight. I
yeah,
think you got to blame the oversight of it. You got to blame the people,
hmm
and you really got to blame the people. And you got to blame the consumer a little bit because they keep buying the shit.
well, you got no choice.
Yeah,
Where else are
well,
you going to go to
true,
buy it?
true. Then that
You
is
know.
true. And what else you going to do?
Yeah, what else are you going to do? You want to go to the show? You got to buy the ticket.
Yep.
Where are you going to buy the ticket?
And it's
Ticket
not,
Bastard. Or what's the other one? There's 2 of them, but they both work together, and I think they're owned by the same.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think like StubHub and SeatGeek and all that.
Oh, it's
I don't
Live Nation.
Live Nation. Are
Live
they?
Nation, yeah, and they sell tickets too. But I think they're owned by the same company that owns Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. So don't take my word for that. But,
Well, it's like combat sports stuff. It's all now under the umbrella of one massive corporation. You got that's a stupid slap fighting thing. Which made me laugh.
yeah,
The UFC. I think they have a boxing one now, and of course now then WWE is in that mix now too. So you got. I don't call WWE combat sports, but
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. It's all under that big conglomerate, and that's it.
How about that professional arm wrestling we saw on TV?
Oh, I think that's part of it too. That is awesome.
That was hilarious.
That's awesome.
Like,
The slap fighting one.
I was just
So,
staring at the TV like this can't be real.
yeah,
Professional arm wrestling.
Dana White
Okay.
laughed. He says, "Yeah, on Fridays, he goes, hopefully soon on Fridays we'll have our slap fighting competition." I'm like, what? And then the UFC, of course, every the MMA, mixed martial arts, every Saturday night. I'm like, I'll watch one of those. I'm not watching slap
Slap
fighting.
fighting.
I like MMA. I
Yeah.
don't like.
Oh
I
well.
have no use for slap fighting, but good luck to those who do.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like a morbid curiosity,
Probably. Yeah,
But hey, if it's making money, God bless them.
Yeah,
But,
I guess.
and I'm not against these guys making money.
I'm not either. I'm a capitalist,
Yeah,
but I think we need some guardrails.
we need to put something.
Yeah,
Like, this is
you
getting
know,
a little ridiculous.
We have people in government that are supposed to watch out for monopolies and stuff, but they're all around us.
Well, that whole Bernie Madoff thing was failure of those people
Yeah.
to take a look at
I
us.
mean, Walmart's not a monopoly.
Yeah,
I kind of think it is.
pretty much is.
Definitely, not
Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah,
Yeah.
Amazon is definitely a monopoly.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, 100.
Yeah, we're going after Apple because they have a closed ecosystem. So does PlayStation. I have nothing wrong with PlayStation having a closed ecosystem. But to be fair, it is easier to get a game on PlayStation Network.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I was reading a thing about like iPhones and how Apple makes it almost. They make it too easy for you to just go get another iPhone.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the way they're just different enough, you know,
Yeah.
that I'll just get another iPhone.
Yeah.
You know, instead of seeing what else is out there.
I still have my iPhone 12.
That's all I've ever owned for cell phone is that phone. I've never used any other kind of phone.
I used an Android for about 6 months, and I was like,
I mean, once I got a smartphone, I mean, before
yeah,
smartphone.
yeah. Once I used that, I had that Android for about 6 months, and I liked it for a little bit until I started wanting it to do the things that I needed my iPhone to do, and it couldn't do them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, or it could do them, but it was so different that I just hated it. So I ended up just putting my SIM card back in my unlocked iPhone and went back to iPhone.
But
And then
you know,
bought my new
the
one.
whole Apple thing, though, the iPhone stuff, and I don't know. And I can complain about Amazon, but during COVID, Amazon was
They were the
almost
heroes.
essential. They were the heroes.
And so
Yeah.
it was, and you look at these game companies, like we talk about it, they expanded their business and stuff. They should have been smart enough to make it a little bit more temporary or maybe expand it in a more intelligent way. But yeah, it gave something for somebody to do at home.
Hmm.
These TV shows like Netflix exploded,
Yeah.
and they tried to get things
That's all there
out.
was to do.
Yeah,
Sit at home, watch TV, you know.
play video games. That's
Believe me, I know. I retired like 3 months before COVID set in. I was like, damn it. You know?
that's like the worst time.
I know.
Happy retirement. By the way, stay home. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. You're old. You can't go anywhere.
Go anywhere. You might die.
Yeah.
But that's sorry to those who did die. But
Yeah.
they passed away. That is very sad. But it's still a terrible time. God, it's like the worst timing ever. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I do think someone needs to step in and look at a Microsoft and look at EA. These stupid exclusivity deals that EA has.
Mhm.
Madden football sucks.
Yeah, well, you knew that was going to happen.
It is so bad. Like I got the Madden 2024, and it is so bad that I went back to the 2023 because the 2023 is like the 22, which was a good enough game. It's good enough.
Mhm.
It has this weird, and it's the funniest thing, right? I'll play the Chiefs and somehow stomp them. Patrick Mahomes throws 4 interceptions. I somehow stomp him like 56-0, but then I play the Jets and I win by 3 points and I can't get anything done. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the wrong difficulty spike. It should go the other way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's still a broken game. It's so broken. Like my pass rusher, last night it happened. I was rushing, about to hit the quarterback, and he just freezes.
Yeah,
It's like this the whole time. Ball's thrown over him. He's still there, midair. He's in the air, stuck there.
well, you know, I blame the NFL
Oh, that's partially that.
for that
Yeah.
exclusivity thing. You know, they just wanted Madden and EA Sports, and that was it.
Yep.
You know,
They didn't want all of these.
they didn't want any competition. They didn't want to license it to anybody else, and of course, they're making money on it, hand over fist. Yeah, NFL is. But.
And same thing's happening with baseball. Sony makes the only Major League Baseball game, the show, and now, but I will give it used to only be on PlayStation, but Major League Baseball came out and said, look, if you want this still, you have to make it available on Nintendo Switch and Microsoft Xbox, the series, whatever the hell they're up to now. So they needed to, so the Nintendo or a PlayStation said, all right, fine, we'll make it for everybody. And they did, and it's doing well. It's still not the biggest selling sports game.
Oh no.
And they're fine, but God, you have a studio, that's all they do is build this game every year. And they have to build it. It takes 5 years to make a great game nowadays. And like the Last of Us was 5 years in between those games. They're cranking out these sports games every year. You can't change much, you can't fix much, you don't have time, and it's just a factory. It just turns into a factory. So they need to look into that.
Mhm.
That needs to be fixed, I
Sure.
think. They got to, those have to go away. And then EA tried to get that with Disney. Disney had it for a while, but then they bombed one Disney game, and Disney's like, we're going to take that back.
Yeah.
So I was like, holy shit, Disney was smart. And now Disney partners with, they partnered with Sony for Spider-Man and all these other companies. And they're putting out good games now.
Mhm.
Some of them aren't, some of them are bad, but most of them have been good games. But yeah, look at these things. And I don't know why nobody's not looking at them. I don't
Yeah.
know why nobody seems to care. I mean, people do care, like us, the consumer. We're getting kind of hosed.
Yeah, but who do you go to get it fixed?
Yeah, their government's too busy trying to impeach people, have no business being impeached,
Yeah.
or fighting amongst themselves, or trying to remove a speaker who actually did the right thing, and but whatever. And I'm
Whatever.
just, it's a frustrating thing, and I kind of wanted to bring that up because my favorite and two forms of entertainment are movies and games,
Mhm.
and they're both taking it in the butt right
Oh
now.
yeah.
I mean, they're getting kicked hard.
Yeah.
You got independent creators who are making good, better things than these big studios are, but the big studios are the ones who get the press.
Mhm.
And it's rightfully so. They've been there, done that, and you'd think that's where the quality is, but it's
Yeah.
really not
It's
anymore.
really not.
Nah. But that's my rant for the.
Well, I was going to talk about some entertainment field too, and that's auto racing.
Oh,
I mean, I think that's kind of a changing landscape here in auto racing in the last probably few years. You know, in the United States, NASCAR was and probably still is king. You know, the NASCAR's NASCAR, but their ratings are down. They're kind of flat right now. Their attendance is down. You can see it when you see a race on TV.
yeah, they're empty.
There's a lot of empty seats.
Yeah.
You know, and the product is boring. My God, is it boring? You know, when I watched NASCAR when I probably started high school. I had a friend in high school who was a big car guy. He loved cars. And he's kind of got me into racing. He actually got me into drag racing because he had this is a true story. He had an LP, 33 and a third album, Sounds of the Strip.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and he put that thing out after school one day, went over to his house, and he said, hey, you got to listen to this, got to listen to this. And it was recorded at Lions Drag Strip, I think, in California, which is long gone. Place is closed. And you could hear the nitro engines and the announcer. I think it's Dave McClellan. You remember him? He was, and all that stuff. And I thought, man, I gotta see this one of these days in my life, which I have many times now. But anyway, back to NASCAR. That they come out with a new car of tomorrow, which tomorrow never comes.
Yeah.
You know what I
What
mean?
you're talking about. That thing is, that block that looks like a brick.
It looks like a brick, and it's just got stickers. And you know, when I started watching NASCAR, a Chevy was a Chevy, and a Plymouth was a Plymouth, and you know, and you could go buy what won on Sunday on Monday. You know, you could go to the car dealer and buy the same car.
Yeah.
You know, with seats. You know,
An actual functioning lights.
it's an actual functioning stuff, but it's the same car, you know, and I think they have just destroyed NASCAR ever so slowly. And that's another problem with, you know, what we were just talking about in games is NASCAR, it's a family owned business. And they just do what the hell they want to do. I mean, they will change the rules in the middle of the week. You know, for the next race. Oh, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to do this, you know, and, you know, it's just ridiculous, you know, and the drivers don't like it, but they're making money, so they put up with it.
Yeah.
But, you know, the only guy that ever spoke out here recently against it was Tony Stewart, and that's why I liked him so much. I still do. He just give them the what for, you know. It's like, you guys are screwing this shit up. And he owns a NASCAR team.
Does he still? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's selling off part of it. Yeah, I think he's slowly but surely probably going to get out of that business, you know.
I don't blame him.
I don't either. You know, as a fan, as someone who likes to watch auto racing, I have a hard time watching NASCAR anymore.
It's painful.
I know they still have their fans, and if you're a fan of NASCAR and you still watch it and you still love it, God bless you. Enjoy it. But I just can't really get into it that much anymore. I might watch the first 10 laps and the last 15 or 20.
I think Dale Earnhardt being killed broke NASCAR.
It had a lot to do with it.
Yeah,
it had
it really did.
You know, my favorite motorsport is drag racing, NHRA drag racing.
Yeah, and they've been consistent.
And actually, their ratings are pretty.
No, I mean they're
They're up.
consistent as a product. They've changed over the years, and different teams have gone in and out, but their sense of what they do has been always
Oh
consistent.
yeah,
They don't just change a rule.
well, sometimes they do. But I mean, I think this season for NHRA television ratings have been very good.
Have they?
Oh yeah, and I think Tony Stewart has something to do with that because he's now driving for, in a Top Fuel, the king of the class, the king of the sport. And, with Tony Stewart in there, people are going to go see that. People are going to tune into that. He hasn't won yet, but he will.
He made one to the finals a couple weeks ago, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
But it's NHRA is my favorite. I've always loved NHRA thanks to my friend Daryl who had that album.
Yeah,
and I listened to that and I thought, wow, one of these days I got to go see that. And then I was in high school and a friend of mine and your mom, we weren't married yet, and another couple went to Winterport Dragway in Central Maine, which is still there and still operating. And we watched just some local drag strip, run what you brung kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And on a Saturday afternoon, that was a lot of fun. And then when I was stationed in Pax River, we were like 30 minutes from Maryland International Raceway.
Oh, that's cool.
Which at that time was an NHRA sanctioned drag strip. And we'd go there on Saturday night, cheap night out.
Yeah.
You $5-7 or whatever for a ticket, and you got to watch some good racing.
That's cool.
And I loved it. I got hooked on it there. That's where I really got hooked on it. And then later on, we went. You were just a young guy. We went to Seattle to the Northwest Nationals.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Did it again too when I was a teenager. I remember that. Matthew was born.
Yeah, Matthew was with us.
Yeah.
He was just a little. Yeah, he was the little guy. You were.
Yeah, I think I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
13.
and that was the first national event that I saw. And,
that was a fun time.
That was fun, and now we go to Gainesville every year.
I love
Gainesville.
I love going every year.
Yeah.
It is something that I do look forward to every time it comes around.
Yeah,
I don't watch as much on TV because to me,
TV doesn't do it justice.
It doesn't, and I do get a little bored watching on TV because it's so. It's just when you're there, it's all around you. You can't help but feel it. Right? You
don't get that with television.
Yeah, when you watch it on TV,
and
you do lose.
The smell of the nitromethane and
brings tears
and all that. It's just
the freaking when those covers take off, your whole body shakes, and the earth underneath, everything just shakes all around it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. The horsepower is amazing.
But
and what's amazing too is the way they treat the fans.
Oh,
you can just walk right up and say hello to the friggin' guy turning the wrenches on the
and they'll stop
the car, and they'll stop and talk to you. And the drivers come out and talk to you. And I remember one time we went up to Georgia it was a test session up there.
Yeah, that's the first time Top Fuel ran on that.
On that track, it was a funny car. What was his name? He doesn't race anymore. Shoot, I forget. Tommy somebody.
Oh my God, I feel so
bad. It's been too long. I know. I feel bad.
He's great too. He's not such a nice
And he came out and he spent like 20 minutes just talking.
Mm-hmm.
Just you, me, and him.
Tommy Johnson Jr.?
Yeah, Tommy Johnson Jr. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I remember all these kids and stuff huddled around his car right before it left. Around the starting line because you could in this track. It was so small. So they all huddle around, everybody both sides. And he lit that thing off along with another dragster next to him. And it looked like those people scattered like a bomb went off. And it was like, holy shit, this is different. They're just running all over the place.
Yeah, that was a spring test.
Yeah.
Spring test nationals or something.
Yeah, they're going to Gainesville, I think,
the following weekend. Yeah. So we drove up there, and that was worth it. That was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
But I really love drag racing for those reasons. I mean, and it's still a cheap ticket.
Yeah.
You buy a general admission ticket for $60.
Yeah.
Free
access to the whole place,
and it's all day event, and it's a lot of fun. But up and comer in America is Formula One,
which I think that's something we are finally catching up to, because that's huge. And
the rest of the world, yeah,
it's like soccer,
One. We have 3 Grand Prix here in the United States now. Yeah, and this last Miami race, which was the last one held, actually, Miami Grand Prix was the highest TV audience in the U.S. ever, and it was up by 48%
over
second highest one, which was Miami last year
Yeah.
in
Wow.
in the U.S.
Yeah.
It went up
That's amazing.
48%. It's man, it's really growing,
It's a great
and
sport, though. It's
it's
fun.
man, it's
A lot
fantastic.
of weird rules. I don't get all of
Yeah,
it, but
well, I've there's a lot of tutorials on the Formula One website
is there? I might have
where
to
you
look
can go
into it.
through it and they explain everything. You know
Yeah, I might
why
have to
they
look
do this,
into
why here's the rule, here's what it means,
it.
and here's why we do it. You know, and they're really good tutorials on there.
I do find it funny because, I mean, they'll hit on the backstretch on straightaway. They'll hit 200, 210 miles an hour, and then they will drop down to 50 and then come out of the corner doing 70, 80 miles an
Oh
hour
no,
and then just
no, those
pick back
cars
up
are
to over
amazing.
100 miles an hour at the blink of an eye. And then I'll watch the NASCAR guys do the same track and they're lumbering around like at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, those road courses, and they're especially the first time they raced. There's the Circuit of America, COTA.
Yeah, yeah, the big
Yeah,
one.
that one's in Texas,
Yeah.
and they have Formula One race there,
Hmm.
and have for years. And they said, well, NASCAR is going to race at this track, so I thought, I'll give that a look. See, not only is it a Formula One style track with all the hairpin turns and
Hmm.
all that stuff, it rained that day.
Mm.
So you're watching these big old bulky NASCAR stock cars going around this track at like seemed like 50 miles an hour in the
Especially
rain.
compared to F1.
And it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this is horrible. I watched about 10 minutes of
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, oh, jeez.
It's just amazing to me how quickly they can drop into a corner and how fast they explode out of a corner.
Yeah.
I mean, they fire off out of a corner. It's like as soon as that brake is removed
Hmm.
and they hit that gas, man, it is gone. I
Yeah.
mean, that thing is
Yeah, those cars
impressive.
are amazing. It's impressive.
Yeah, they're hybrids.
And I've only watched it on TV. I really would like to go to a
Yeah, I
Grand
would
Prix
too.
sometime. I was texting with Matthew about the Miami race a couple weeks ago, and when it was going on, maybe the next day, and he's not far from Belgium.
Mm,
You go to the Belgium Grand Prix. It's in July every year.
mm,
I'm thinking,
mm.
maybe next year, maybe I can go over to go
That'd be
visit
kind
that
of
in
fun,
July,
hit the
and
race. That'd be a lot
for
of
2 days, a 2 day general admission pass is 150 euros.
fun. It's not too bad.
No, it ain't bad at all.
For 2 days? That's
For
not
two
bad at
days,
all.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's not.
You get to watch the qualifying, and if they have a sprint, you can watch the sprint on Saturday and then
Yeah.
race on Sunday.
That's kind of neat. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a blast. I'd love to do
I'm
that.
down. Just let me know when.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, I do. I've gotten into, and that is one on TV that does well on TV.
It does. Yeah, it's fun to watch. I got into it a few years ago. I watched France, not the France,
Monaco.
Monaco,
Mm.
the Monaco Grand Prix, which runs through the streets of
Of Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo, and it's just beautiful, beautiful place, And I'm starting watching this race. So this is pretty cool. I can get into this. So
Yeah.
I started watching more and more of it, and then Matthew moved to France, and I got his F1. He's got the F1
Mhm.
app, whatever, So he gets more stuff than we do.
Yeah.
But he gave me his access to it, and I loaded that up, and I've been watching that.
Oh, it's fun.
It's really
I
good
do
stuff.
enjoy it. And, and of course in America we figured out how to put commercials in it, but I love how it is just straight through.
Yeah, that's why I got access to Matt's account, because ESPN figured out how to put commercials in something that doesn't have commercials.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they just pause the race. So
Yeah.
you're actually, when you watch what we think is live here in the US, you're actually seeing it delayed by 3 minutes of commercials. So by the
every so often,
Yeah.
yeah,
it's kind of annoying.
it's annoying as hell. So
Yeah, I
I
love how they
get-
just go straight through it. And I love how they end. Okay, this race is
2 hours.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. 2 hours.
Yeah.
If they don't have the lap count in, it's whoever's leading at the end of 2 hours has won the race.
Yep, I do like that too.
I
That's
do too.
good.
Yeah, and they don't refuel.
Which is awesome. And watching those pit stop, 2.5 second pit stop for 4 tires. And then they said, oh, it was a slow pit stop when they replaced the front nose on a guy's wing. It was still 5 seconds. This is
that's
ridiculous.
crazy. Yeah,
This is ridiculous.
I like watching that. I really do. I don't
But-
think it'll be as popular for me as drag racing is, but
But it's a solid.
it's a hell of a lot more popular for me. I watch more of that now than I do NASCAR.
Yeah, I
by a
don't
mile,
pay attention
because
to NASCAR.
I watched the last 20 laps of that race yesterday.
Oh, did you?
I still couldn't tell you who won. You know, it's just not that.
They all look the same to me,
Yeah.
man, and they kind of do. They all look like they're 12-year-old boys.
Trophy wife,
Trophy wife.
2 cute kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. No personalities.
None.
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 You know, when I watched it, we had Richard Petty and Buddy Baker and Kaylee Yarborough, and those guys, they were all just a bunch of old. They used to run moonshine, for Christ's sake. Some of these guys,
Yeah.
you know, and they're all, you know, it was, they had, yeah, they would fight each other, literally.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was.
Even when I was when we first moved here in the early 2000s, you had Earnhardt. You had his son was just getting into it.
Dale Jr. Yeah.
You had Gordon.
Jeff Gordon.
And then that's Tony Stewart started getting. You got Juan Pablo Montoya. You had
Those guys had some.
They had something to them.
Yeah.
Now I just feel like it's the same
just,
dude.
It's
They just
this,
carbon copy him and
they
make him
find the handsome guy who his father used to be a racer, his grandfather or something. You know, it's all a big family thing. You know? And then I don't know.
It's the only sporting event where nepotism rules.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, NHRA is that way too.
Yeah, to a certain point. Yeah.
Born into it, I guess. But and IndyCar racing, I watched the Indianapolis 500 parts of it. That's about it.
Yeah.
You know,
circle track racing to me is boring. I just don't like it. I like having, because after a while you make enough left-hand turns, you're going to be really good at it, you know. And I just get bored with
some of that dirt track stuff is fun.
Yeah.
You know, Tony Stewart was big into that stuff too. He owns tracks, as a matter of fact.
Was they call it outlaw racing? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
that stuff's kind of cool.
That's fine. I went to one of those in Washington. Yeah, with Skip and Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
They took me up there. That was a great time.
Yeah.
Some kid got friggin' walloped in the face by a clump of dirt, you know, because he was right up on the fence. And like, don't hang over the fence. He's like, smack. He was blown over.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. It really was. And they're sideways going.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, and it's an exciting race.
They have those races up in Georgia, that drag strip we went to. They have a asphalt track there and a dirt track.
And
they do that.
Yeah, that's neat. But yeah, I love motorsports, and it was under threat there for a while with all these environmental changes and stuff. But I like what
it still is to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there's a congressional committee that's kind of a pro racing thing where all these drivers go there and on occasion and say, hey, you know, you gotta help us out here. You know, don't close all our tracks and pass all these stupid laws and. You know, things like that.
That's good, I guess. You know, they got to.
But NASCAR takes a lot of crap and I think they should, for their fuel consumption.
Yes.
I mean, Formula One figured it out. They have hybrid engines in those cars.
And they still do 200 plus miles an
hour.
Yeah,
you know, and they have the Formula One E, which I watched a couple of races. It's kind of weird. You know, it's so quiet, but you know, but they go 180, 109 miles an hour, you know, and it's still good racing, you know, but NASCAR has never even tried.
And unlike the NHRA, where NHRA doesn't use real fuel.
Some classes do. You know,
Pro Stock, I think, does.
Yeah, right? They use racing gasoline, but
nitromethane's synthetic.
It's synthetic, and they use ethanol to cut it. You know,
you know, so that makes a little. You can do that, or I've often wondered. I think people, I mean, they will freak out. Let's just be honest. A lot of NASCAR fans.
Oh, NASCAR fans wouldn't be able to handle that.
Oh my God! If they were to say we're doing hybrids and we're no longer fueling up, oh my God, they would lose.
Yeah, that would be the end of NASCAR, probably.
It would be.
But at some point, I think they need to
tear that Band-Aid off.
Yeah, they need to do something. You know. Not that I'm the big environmental guy, but at the same time, you got to do your part.
Yeah,
you know,
if everybody does a little bit,
it
goes a long way eventually. So there's a lot of people here, so we can all do a little bit, and
it hasn't hurt Formula One. I mean, they got those hybrid engines.
Those cars are faster than they've ever been. I love it when they do the battery bursts.
Yeah.
And then when they charge up those batteries, and then they do where their tail opens up, was the DRS?
Yeah, drag reduction system. Yeah.
And that opens up, and then the battery surge, and all of a sudden they just like slingshot around each other. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, I got friends here.
Oh, we got dogs all over the
place. Okay.
But yeah, no, that's neat. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great sport. I think motorsports are a thing that faded away. but I think it's coming
I
back
don't know if
in
they
a
ever faded away.
different way.
You know, I enjoy it.
Yeah,
So
but
that's really all I got.
that's all I got. Yeah, that's all I have for today. You know, nothing much happened. I finished my.
Oh, there's a Netflix documentary on Formula One.
Oh, is there? I might
Yeah,
watch
you know,
that.
I
Domain
never
documentary.
watched it. I never watched it. It's a series, actually,
I have to check that out.
and I can't remember the name of it. But
Great sport. Highly
yeah,
recommend it.
yeah, I like Formula One.
And NHRA.
NHRA is number one for me.
Those are the two. Those are only two I ever
Formula
paid attention
One.
to. I couldn't tell you NASCAR.
NASCAR, when there's nothing else on TV on a Sunday afternoon, I'll probably put it on.
And then go immediately put in a movie.
Yesterday, I turned on King of the Hill.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good choice.
yeah.
But yeah, I have nothing much going on. I finished the closed captions. I got to watch them, make sure they're right. And
Okay, good. Yeah, you got to get that movie out.
yes, I do. Yeah, I heard a noise in one section, and I'm gonna listen for it again. See if it was just maybe my computer. Like, you know, every now and again, the computer processing such a big file, sometimes it hiccups a little bit in the sound. So I'm gonna double check and see if it was just that moment. If there is noise there, take me a minute. I just got to figure out how to isolate and get it out of there.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then I got to do my artwork, and then I just submit everything. So it's ready. It's getting closer. I'm getting a little excited. It's getting closer. I was working on it all weekend, so I'll probably be working on it all this weekend too. You know, it's like I got to do work stuff during the week. That's all I got.
Yeah, me too. Oh, I got a quote.
Oh, you do?
Here, a quote. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
close it out with a Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, one of my favorite guys.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites too. Perhaps we've never been visited by aliens because they have looked upon Earth and decided that there is no sign of intelligent life.
Amen, brother.
So there you go.
There you go. No, he went to Nevada and said there's nothing here.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone have a good one.
All right.
We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, and bye-bye.
Bye.